Good evening and welcome to the Irish Art Show, broadcast from the Scientology Community Centre, Dublin. Tonight we are delighted to welcome singer-songwriter, musician and storyteller from Naas, Pete Kavanagh. His unique sound invokes the vintage quality of his many musical influences, such as Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen. Pete's ability to capture the human experience in all its joy and sorrow has earned him the respect of his peers and fans alike. Tonight, he's joined by his son, Caden. Please welcome them to the show.
Slow down. Let me gather my thoughts. The why. The wide whites come around. We'll talk of forget-me-nots, the lows and highs, the nighty nights. Lost and found. Give all that you got and read between the lines. Join up the dots. Gone to grounds. Feels like I'm losing the plot. Turning tides. X marks the spot. Traveling through time. Lost in a dream. Forgetting your face. All that you mean. Moving my mind beyond my means. Misplacing this place. All that you mean. It all connects. I'm here and now, shot out from space. Southbound and trying to hold on. I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hello, my name's Pete Kavanagh. That song was called Hold On, and it features on my first debut album, which is called Join Up the Dots, which is quoted in the song. The next song I'm going to do is from the same album. It's called Tonic for a Troop. It's kind of quite apt for what's happening in the world today, but we let the song say that. Tonic for a troop. I'm chasing shadows through the dirt, walking away from everything worth fighting for, leaving a trail of shame and hurt. Got some time to kill. Let me explain. I wasn't like this before the war. Had a wife and kids and keys to my front door. I took pride in my name and work. Now my time is spent drowning the pain. I spent weeks in the belly of the beast, lost my mind in the merciless heat. And through it all I held on to the belief that I would return home to all I had known before all this death and all of this regret, and that she'd be waiting for me. You never forget the taste of sand or the stench of burning flesh caused by your hand when it's raining blood and you're soaking wet. Prayers go unanswered in the valleys of death. I can't eat and I can't sleep. I just close my eyes and clench my teeth. And through it all I held on to the belief that I would return home to all I had known before all this death and all of this regret, and that she'd be waiting for me. Oh, Johnny got his on the Western Front, and Billy got his when he went out for a smoke. Charlie's took days, and Tommy's no legs, and Jimmy's gone blind, and Tony he begs. I've got something to say, so let me be blunt. You're no man in here if you don't know how to hunt. Out in the dark with your haze and your gun, you've got to be sure you get the job done. Oh, I'll move on now, and I'll leave you alone to ponder my words as you wander on home. In the end, the angels will come. In the end, the work will be done. Peace, my brother. Peace, my son. Peace, my mother, my daughter, my loved one. Peace, my father. Peace for the world. Peace for the future. Peace be the word. Okay, this new song, I'm recording new material at the moment. It's been 2 years since Join Up the Dots came out. And this new song, or the new songs that I'm writing, I'm going to kind of try and release them one at a time as opposed to build a concept of the follow-up album. This is one of the new songs that's come. It's based on somebody who has just lost their partner, and they're just going into the first winter of discontent and working out how exactly they're going to cope with it all. It's called The Twilight Zone.
Driving down a dead-end road where careless winds blow. I've been down this way before, but never on my own. Into the mystic on the radio, that was her song as it goes. Only my footsteps on the bedroom floor as that foghorn blows into the twilight zone. That big hand strikes a minute to noon, and my coffee grows cold. Staring out the window at a winter sun, another average day unfolds. Praying for spring to come too soon, a new life taking hold. We last made love under the hunter's moon, a passion so brazen and bold. Oh, it's so hard to live life without you. You know I'm not always so strong. Another day on Lonely Avenue, another night so dark and long. You know I fixed up the old piano you found out on the road. I play show tunes and rock and roll songs from the good times so long ago. I've swept the dead leaves from the patio. I'm laying low for the promised snow, trying to keep the wolves from the door and bad dreams under my pillow in from the twilight zone. That big hand strikes a minute to noon, and my coffee grows cold. Staring out the window at a winter sun, another average day unfolds. Praying for spring to come too soon, a new life taking hold. We last made love under a hunter's moon, a passion so brazen and bold. Oh, it's so hard to live life without you. You know I'm not always so strong. Another day on Lonely Avenue, another night so dark and long.
So this next song is one that I wrote for Join Up the Dots. It's probably the lightest song, and some people find it quite humorous. It's written from the point of view of joining together a load of cliches, or what's known as corporate speak. So I took corporate speak and wrote a song on it.
Bottom line is how we see the big picture. Put a handle on it so we're on the same page. Great to touch base, we table it for later. Press on flesh, embrace the change. Embrace the change. If you don't do it, who else will? Get back to basics, set up the main stage. Hit the ground running, go in for the kill. Manage expectations and channel that rage. Channel that rage. From the rising to the setting sun, we're getting things done. From the rising to the setting sun, we're getting things done. We're getting things done. Make sure the left hand knows what the right one is doing. Don't wanna wind up on a slippery slope. Keep it tight, ship, don't show your cards too soon. Take one for the team, push out the envelope. Push out the envelope. Give us a ballpark figure, leave some elbow room. Have a contingency plan, give them enough rope. Lessons to be learned, reach beyond the moon. Watch what you're saying, wash your mouth out with soap. Wash your mouth out with soap. From the rising to the setting sun, we're getting things done. From the rising to the setting sun, we're getting things done. We're getting things done. Stay on it, hold on tight. Stay on it, it'll be alright. Stay on it, don't give up the fight. Stay on it, it'll be alright. It'll be alright. It'll be alright. It'll be alright.
Thank you. I'm now going to do a cover of a Radiohead song. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined in this performance by my son Caden, who's come along to play some bass. We're both big fans of Radiohead, so we decided we'd give it a go here today. It goes pretty high at the end, so just let me water my throat. You all right? This is called Karma Police.
Arrest this man, he talks in mass. He's buzzing like a fridge, he's like a detuned radio. Karma police, arrest this girl, her Hitler hairdo is making me feel ill, and we have crashed the party. This is what you'll get. This is what you'll get. This is what you'll get when you mess with us. become a police. I've given all I can, but it's not enough. Given all I can, but we're still on the payroll. This is what you get. This is what you get. This is what you get when you mess with us. For a minute there, I lost myself. I lost myself. For a minute there, I lost myself. I lost myself. For a minute there, I lost myself. I lost myself. For a minute there, I lost myself. I lost
So, okay, this is our final one. Again, it's another new song. They're all new, really, when you don't know them. But this one is, again, this is its first outing. And Caden's going to accompany me on this one. It's called Ghost.
Time is a prison of the mind when all you find are bars and walls. Sight, a vision for the blind when all you find are cracks and flaws. Not as deep as you like to think. That's what hurts the most. You can't say what you're dying to say. It's time to give up the ghost. Give up the ghost. Give up the ghost. Give up the ghost. Here, a perception so queer when all that's near moves in the dark. Sphere, perfection so clear when all you fear is falling apart. You're not as deep as you like to think. That's what hurts the most. You can't say what you're dying to say. It's time to give up the ghost. Give up the ghost. Do as you will, but hurt no one. Do as you will, but hurt no one. Hurt no one.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Fantastic music and unique sound from Pete. Absolutely enjoyed listening to all those songs. Very deep meanings and touching lyrics. So I'm really looking forward to interviewing him right now. You're very, very welcome to the Irish Arts Show, Pete.
Thank you very much, Angel. Thanks
Thank
for having
you so
me
much.
along. Yeah.
I hope you're having a lovely day here today.
It's actually very pleasant. You know, even the drive up with Caden and just made feel very welcome from the time we've arrived. Yeah, no, great show. Great, thank you.
I'm glad you are. You're feeling very welcome. That's really good to know. Tell me how you actually got into the music business, because everybody that's in the music business, we all have a story as to why we're here.
Okay. Well, you know, music has always been part of who I am. Like from being a child. Like my father, Barney, as people would know him, would play the accordion in the house, or sometimes we'd go out and hear him play. So I learned a lot of the early stuff from him, like Hank Williams songs and stuff like that. And when I got a guitar then, and discovered Elvis Presley and the Beatles, I kind of went, and Bob Dylan, I kind of knew I want to do this. So I kind of, you know, joined the local bands around Kildare, you know, kind of mainly blues rock stuff, and kind of did that for a while until I was kind of in my mid-20s before I kind of really had the experience, I suppose, or opened up the idea that I could write something. And like the first song that I wrote that I was proud of is on my first album, Join Up the Dots. It's called Ashes. So that's the oldest song that would be on that album, because of, like, you know, it took a long time before I actually recorded my debut album. I worked with, you know, on the wedding industry, you know, with wedding singers, and collaborated or kind of accompanied. My wife Pamela was a wedding singer, so we did a lot of weddings in Scotland, and you know, I'd learn those songs, or I'd play those songs, but I always was writing at the same time. We were in a band called Tongue, so I was writing songs that she would sing.
When did you realize you could write songs? I know you said in your 20s, but what inspired you to write your first song?
The first song, Ashes, would have come from a place of, you know, it's like a muse. I've realized sometimes you write songs and you don't actually know what they're about till much later. You kind of write them and they fit together. Ashes was one of those that I didn't really work on, it just happened. And as I got older, I kind of realized I was writing about music, or the need to have something that I could never really hold on to. It was like water, it was like air, it was like something that you could touch only every now and again, or you'd reach for it all the time. So Ashes came from there, and like the refrain in that song is like, you know, if you come too close, she'll run and hide. So you can, you know, music is something like a lot of things in life that you borrow, but you never possess.
I always ask the question, so just say that was your first song. Does there always something special about the first song, or do you just move on and grow with other songs that you create?
You write a lot of songs that, you know, it becomes a process. You carry a diary around in your pocket, and you know, I always say my antennae are going up, and you get a shivery feeling. And some things that people say, or you hear something on the radio, or somebody, you read something in a book, and like that can be just a spark that ignites what's that feeling that's going on inside you, that need to express yourself. That's really what songwriting is. It's expression. Sometimes it happens all in one go, and other times, like, you know, you write something and you go, there's something there, but it could take weeks, months, years even to come back to that song to finally craft it into what you wanted to say.
And you have a very unique style. It's
Thank you.
described as American fused folk with a vintage quality. So I like that. How would you put that together?
Well, Americana, or American kind of music, you know, like I said, with my dad and the accordion, and you know, often like hearing lads in a bar, you'd learn to write a song very, very quickly, because you mightn't hear that song again for weeks. There was no YouTube where you could go looking it up or whatever. So I remember a guy called Manzer in the town sang The Boxer, the Simon and Garfunkel song, and like I was almost trying to learn it as he was playing it. And every time I'd see him, I'd go, can you play that song, The Boxer, until I had it? And like, you know, after 2 or 3 listens, I could kind of learn that. but a lot of the songs I would have known were based in folk until I was about 12, 13, and then my first final record that I would have gotten was 12 Golden Greats from Elvis. And hearing recorded music like that away from what I had grown up on just shattered me. It was just like, oh my God, this is something different, and that led to Bob Dylan, the Beatles. And a lot of I know the Beatles are British, but a lot of the music that I would have listened to would have been, you know, rock and roll based from America, or country based from America. Hank Williams, as I said, or Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, Bob Dylan. You know, particularly the 50s and 60s more so than the later stuff. So the Americana infused, but you know, I'm Irish to the bone, so it's folk music with definitely a rock and roll tinge to it, yeah.
Well, there's no doubt about it. You definitely have hit the human experience. I mean, listening to your songs, they do touch the heart here this evening.
Thank you.
Do you feel that a lot of your songs are kind of based on human experience, whether it's I suppose sorrow or happiness or joy?
All of my songs are based on human experience. Like, you know, the emotion. Music is for me is a connection to something that's bigger than us. It's kind of almost like a prayer. So it's an energy that what am I trying to say? Like it's just the connection to music is very, very powerful.
Absolutely, and it's even for the listener.
Yeah.
For me here this evening, listening to you sing, it's like you can, there's elements, all the elements of the song, you know, touching your heart. You know.
Well, they call it soul music, and,
yeah, sure.
and the emotion and the human experience. You have to kind of delve into that to reach that part of expression. If you're going to, for me, I have to sing it like that. I can't write a song about, if somebody comes up to me and goes, can you write a song about my daughter having her birthday party or something, like, I could probably come up with a rhyme or something like that, but it wouldn't be, you know, it
coming
wouldn't
from
be
your
the
soul,
core
yeah,
of
exactly.
something like that. That's where it has to come from me, yeah.
And I see that you released your debut solo album, Join the Dots, which I like the name. That's a cool name.
Join Up the Dots, yeah.
In November, Join Up the Dots, how cool is that?
Yeah.
In November 2021. Yeah, so, and the first single from the album, To Hold the Red Rose, reached the semi-finals of an international songwriting competition. How did that come about?
Yeah, Join Up To Hold the Red Rose, and that we had finished that song and it was ready for release, and the album was to follow soon after. So To Hold the Red Rose came out, I think, around October or November of 2020. But we wanted to do a launch of the album, and COVID, the pandemic hit in and everything shut down again, and the album got delayed for almost a year. So the song was out there with the anticipation that Join Up the Dots was going to follow in 2020, but we had to wait. So we were like, what are we going to do with the song? The song is out there. So Pamela kind of, a lot of the ideas, a lot of the inspiration, a lot of the support would come from my wife, Pamela. So she suggested the international songwriting competition, and said, like, you know, I think you should enter To Hold the Red Rose into that. And I saw that one of the judges was Tom Waits, who's a musical hero of mine. Irma Thomas and Tanya Tucker were on the judging panel. I said, well, sure, look, it's got to be worth a shot. The idea of Tom Waits hearing my song. And then, you know, that email comes through, and you're like, oh, you've reached the semi-finals from all entrants all over the world. So that did blow my mind. You know, it kind of gives you a renewed confidence of, okay, I think I'm on the right path. I think I'm doing something right here.
And did you get to meet any of them?
Oh, not at all. No.
But you just knew that was the panel.
Yeah, you're told before
Yes.
you go in, like, because
Yeah.
when we looked it up, and I said, Tom Waits, oh my God, you know, the idea of that, because he was just such an inspiration to me, particularly like the Closing Time album and the earlier stuff, although I love all his work.
I love the name To Hold the Red Rose.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration for that, if you can tell us?
Well, To Hold the Red Rose is another way of saying, you know, to love and to be loved in return. You know, to hold a red rose where your love grows is like to love somebody and to be loved in return. It's just another way of saying that. The title came from, I was in a shop in Nace. I don't know if I can say it or not. It's a bookshop, Barker and Jones.
Yeah.
And we were upstairs, and like at the time, there was a cafe up there that's now gone. And they had disused not disused, what's the word, out of date, out of print books, or books that like you could no longer get online, real old books from the, you know, from the 19th century and stuff. And I was in the raw stages of grief. We were out, my brother had just come home, my mother was out, you know, we were arranging the, you know, the funeral and stuff for my father. And that's a bubble of, it's a very strange time. It's a very strange, you feel like you're just, the air is out of the room, yet you feel like you're swimming in water almost. It's a very strange time. We were having a cup of coffee, and I was just looking at the books in Barker and Jones, and there was conversation going on around me. And this book just stood out to me. It was just a woman holding up a rose, and the book was called For the Red Rose. And it's just one of those kind of romantic stories from, you know, from the 19th century, I think, or the turn of the 20th century when it was written. And I pulled down the book, and just the image of on the thing just captured me. So I opened it, got a pen, and wrote the song in the flyleaf, and then realized, well, I have to buy this now. You know, I'm after writing this. It was basically a poem to my wife, a love song really, but it was. So I went home, and I'm after writing this, but you're in the moment of it. So then about a week later, I picked up the guitar, and the chords and everything was just there, and that song was just, another verse came from it. The last verse came from it on what I wrote in the book, but it came from that kind of emotion, or whatever you'd call it, that kind of pain.
And I love that you're actually so attached, you know, not attached, but you're able to express your emotion and able to, you know, speak about your love for your wife and able to write songs about her. I just think that's wonderful. It's beautiful. Your wife must be delighted with you, I can tell you.
Most of the time, you know. No, like, you know, Pamela and me have been together since we met, and we met like, you know, about 27 years ago. It was just soulmates. It was just an instant kind of
love story
connection, and I'm very, very lucky.
Your twin flame.
Yeah.
So you share the stage with Jerry Fish, Paddy Casey, Eleanor Shanley, Luka Bloom, and Mary Black, to name a few. Tell us how all those collaborations came about.
Well, when I moved back to Nice, there was a cafe. I'm from Nice originally, but I moved to Galway, and then I lived in Scotland, in Edinburgh, and a place called Livingston for Caden. Both Caden and Lilibet were born in Scotland. And when Lilibet was born, which is 2015 thereabouts, we moved back to Nice. We sold our house in Scotland and moved back to Nice. And there's a restaurant in Nice called Alice's Restaurant, which sadly has gone. It was a great wee place. And we went down there one day, and I was astounded when I walked in to see Paddy Casey sitting there, you know, having a cup of coffee and stuff. And he was playing there that night. And I just started talking to him, and we got to know each other relatively at that time. And he was playing that night. So we went to that show, and that kind of, in Nice, opened up music, you know, like there was exciting things happening in the town, which, you know, and then, you know, like during lockdown, I arranged a kind of a gig kind of to help out the Moe Theatre. The Moe Theatre, like, was being funded, and Paddy Casey and his daughter Saoirse agreed to do it, and we performed with them. It was during lockdown, so there was only 50 people allowed in the theatre, but it was streamed, and I've just kind of gotten to know him from there. Jerry Fish was playing in Nice as well, and I got a call from Tony Circa in Macaulay Place and asked me would I support Jerry Fish. He was lovely. It was a great night. And Willie Hayden, who's in the Muddy River Band with me, I was speaking of that to you earlier on, I think. He organised a Stop the War campaign when for you know, to help the Red Cross, and he managed to, you know, have Mary Black and Eleanor Shanley, Mike Hanrahan, Freddie White, and them come to the Moe Theatre in Nice. And we played like sets. It was kind of like each of them played a set, and we all kind of joined Mary Black at the end, which is a wonderful thing.
It's wonderful actually when musicians and singers come together and, you know, create sounds for audiences like that. It's just amazing. But actually, I know you're currently recording some new songs.
Yes.
And you're working on Darkness Before the Dawn.
Yeah, I recently, that song, there's a lot I want to say about that, but I can't, I won't at the moment.
I won't even ask you what the inspiration is.
The song itself, I was asked to write it for a film, a short film that was funded by the Arts Council, and I didn't get it finished on time. Tom Noon had come to me and he brought me to this story that had happened in Newbridge in 1921, just days before the War of Independence came to an end. And it's a family in Newbridge that suffered an awful tragedy that divided the town. You'll hear it soon, so I won't go too much into the story of it. But even though I didn't finish it in time for the film, it had been rattling around in my skull for a while, you know, and eventually I just got it down, and I played it for a few people, and it's kind of, very much back to that folk tradition more so than the big sound that was on Join Up the Dots. So it kind of opened up. I might be able to write these songs more acoustic, which is what I've done tonight, like trying to play these songs in a more stripped down way, as opposed to depending on an 8 or a 9-piece band to reproduce the sound that's on the record. So Darkness Before the Dawn, there's a guy in Cork I really admire, Martin Leahy. He comes up to Kildare Street and he sings that everybody should have a home in front of the Dáil every week. He's on week 80 or something at this stage. And he's an amazing producer. He's done work with Ger Wolfe and John Spillane and his own work as well, Victoria Keaton. So I really liked his sound. And I said, look, I'm going to chance my arm. So I asked Martin, would he have a listen to Darkness Before the Dawn? And I wasn't expecting, I was expecting him just to kind of bring my vocal and my guitar up in the mix. I got a message from him the next day, what do you think of this piece? And he'd added like pedal steel guitar, bass, percussion, his own vocal. He said, I've been up all night, it just hooked me. And I said, that's amazing, thank you so much. So I'm going to try and hook him in for another one or two. If I know he's very busy, so I'm hoping that he likes what we done on that particular song. I love how he produced it, and it's still very subtle. It's not the big in-your-face sound that is on Join Up the Dots. It's a lot more, it's a lot more folk, and I really like that kind of genre and that area to move into now.
I have to say, it's a great title. I'm looking forward to hearing it
Before the Dawn, yeah.
Absolutely looking forward to hearing it. So what's next for you? We're going to come near the end of the interview. What's next for you in maybe 2024 or just till the end of the year?
I'm with a band called the Muddy River Band. We do the songs of Bob Dylan, one of my heroes. I'm Bob Dylan in the band. There's Van Morrison and there's Neil Young, so Willie Hayden and Pat Silk. And we're doing gigs all over Ireland in the new year. We're in the Well on the 25th of November, but we're in the Sugar Club. We're in Drogheda, the Lighthouse, the Galway Town Hall Theatre, Black Box, I think, Theatre in Belfast. So that's going to be really exciting to do those songs. I love Bob Dylan, I love Van Morrison, I love Neil Young, but just if I'm going to do songs like that, that's the band to be in. So that's going to be occupying 24, but in between that, obviously, because I'm writing and because I recently played in Strong's Cafe there in Kildare, and I love that. I love just having people close and a very intimate gig of there was 35 or 40 people there, like they're eating pizzas and they're drinking wine and whatever, and you're just doing your songs, and by the end of it, then they're all connected to the music and to you like a flame. So I'd love to kind of do some cafes, smaller venues, kind of just on my own or with maybe one other person, and just develop that kind of singer-songwriter, storyteller side of music. Again, just connect to music in that way, as opposed to the whole, I love going out with a band, I love drums and playing in that way, but I'd love to just kind of go right into the stripped down, intimate kind of sound. So I'm hoping to do some of that in between the big band stuff
Yeah.
and that. Yeah.
And I do think
so-
up close and personal is a good way to, as you say, connect with your audience. And before you go, could you tell our audience about your social media so that they can find you?
Well, on Instagram, it's just Pete Kavanagh Music. Same on Facebook, Pete Kavanagh Music. I have a website, petekavanagh.com. So a lot of the stuff I should be updating the blog posts and stuff on the website. I'll be doing more of that in the new year as well, Angel. Yeah, so Pete Kavanagh Music, and I'm rarely on Twitter, but it's Pete Kavanagh 7, I think, is the handle on Twitter. But Instagram or Pete Kavanagh Music on Facebook is probably the best place to find me. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, it's been fantastic having you here on the Irish Art Show, listening to your music and interviewing you.
Thank you. Great to be here.
You're wonderful. Keep up what you're at, because it's great. It's making a difference in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this evening. What a fantastic show. I really enjoyed spending time with Pete. He definitely is a storyteller. He has a lot of stories to tell. So until next week, thank you. On behalf of myself, Angel, and the crew, we'll see you very, very soon. Good night. Thank you.